When you look at Berkeley, we've actually seen since 2017, and Charlie had tweets. I went to his Twitter account just a few hours ago to look up 2017 acts of violence when Turning Point and other conservatives would attend UC Berkeley, going all the way back 2017, almost a decade ago. And when we see these horrific incidents, we have to ask the question, why is it that when Turning Point events go on, when Turning Point students and family members show up on campus, that they're met with this kind of violence? This isn't the kind of violence that anyone should face when they're on campus, whether they're conservative, liberal, independent, or other. It's simply something you'd think that everyone would stand against. And you're right, UC Berkeley is in fact the birthplace of this free speech movement. But unfortunately, we have organizations like Antifa and their local chapter, By Any Means Necessary, that have been performing and coordinating this violence for a long time. I'm glad to see the AG's response, and I hope they are thoroughly investigated.
I want to get your reaction to how the San Francisco Chronicle, which is the local newspaper there, described the Turning Point event. The event was one big exercise in cultural dissonance, with presenters casting themselves as free speech champions while vilifying those who disagree with them, including the protesters demonstrating outside as fascists. You know better than most that Charlie was a big believer in free speech. Would he agree that those protesters had the right to protest?
Well, Elizabeth, there's no question. Protest is, of course, protected by our freedom of speech. But as you can see, and everyone can see on these videos, this isn't protest. This has crossed the line into violence. And we see the violence of flares that were being lit, of people that were being beaten bloody, of chains and bicycles that were attacked, people who were harassed, had things thrown at them. This isn't protest. That's protected by the First Amendment. And of course, Charlie not only supported it, Charlie was one of the biggest exercisers of it. His whole tour was debate me. So if you wanted to disagree with him, he would invite you to the very front and give you a microphone. But this isn't protest. This was direct, coordinated network violence. And you see elements of various extreme ideologies. You see the furry ideology was on scene there. That was something that would have been directly tied to one of the associates of Charlie's accused murderer. So there's a lot we see here. But protest, no, this isn't protest. This is clearly violence, and it was an attack on all of our freedom of speech.
The police say that the violence was very limited, that it involved a fistfight between a man selling pro-Turning Point USA gear and a protester, so that it was just two people who engaged in violence. Do you dispute that?
Well, I just look at the videos. I wasn't there myself, but I see videos, and it seems far more than just two people that were involved. I mean, you see dozens of people that are engaged in violence, and in some cases, it seems like an entire crowd of people that's engaged in violence, and certainly harassing people who are simply trying to peacefully go into the event, which is a Christian event. It's a free speech event. It's a patriotic event. And by the way, it's got Rob Schneider there. It's got Deuce Bigalow. So, you know, I don't know if they're going to be calling Deuce Bigalow some arch fascist all of a sudden.
I know Charlie, when he did these kinds of tours on campus, encountered protesters routinely. How did he handle them?
Well, look, Charlie would, you know, it would depend, of course, if there was something violent. Usually Charlie would be whisked away as soon as possible. He had a great security team. There's no question about that. But when someone was heckling, Charlie would try to engage them. Charlie would try to engage them in debate. He would try to sit there, talk with them, find out what they were interested in, and he would engage them on the merits of their debate. But unfortunately, what we've seen from this tour on the very first day, we were met with violence, which included an assassination, and now here we are, the very last day of the tour. And I think the videos and the pictures speak for themselves. This kind of violence, you can't engage with this.
What do you think, the DOJ is now investigating the school. What more do you think they should have done? And do you agree with Pam Bondi's assessment that this was a, quote, violent riot, that's a strong way to describe it?
I think the images stand for itself, that it was a violent riot in many instances. But what I also think that the school should have done, I've been at a number of events where they'll set up a security perimeter whereby you can have people who are on one side are
maybe
kept
have them
separate
further
from the people
away
who are protesting, and Yeah, have them further away, have a barricade up. So if people want to protest, they have a space where they can do that peacefully. And if people want to attend the event, they can do that peacefully as well. That's perfectly consistent with freedom of speech. I've been at events all around the world and seen that. I'm not really sure why the school didn't set that up here.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.